would like to see it reform in the monarchy. But what would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I am a monarchist. I support the institution. I think it holds the nation together. It does a lot of great work, particularly in terms of soft power and diplomacy. And, most members of the royal family behave properly and they don't take advantage of the privilege in order to make money for themselves. But, the compact between the people and the monarchy is about trust and respect. And that, I'm afraid, Andrew has undermined because of his behavior. But I do think that there is growing concern about the privileges the royal family enjoy, um, the tax breaks they get for what are basically commercial estates, the lack of oversight into their behavior, which has allowed Andrew to behave as badly as he done for so long because there was no scrutiny. And I think in their own interests, they need to modernize and reform in order to continue to command support. And if they have nothing to hide, they have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So it should be very simple, for example, to allow parliamentary scrutiny, to have debates on the royal financing, to review the Duchy of Lancaster and Cornwall estates, to look at the way the royal family are financed in future, to remove the exemptions in the Freedom of Information Act that relate to the royal family, so they're subject to all the same rules as everyone else. Royal wills are sealed for them when everyone else's wills are open. That would be another change. There could be a register of royal gifts, a register of royal business activities. There could be the opening of Buckingham Palace and the gardens because there's no longer a security threat there. They're no longer there. Uh, there are lots of things they could do that would win back public support and trust. And I think what's so extraordinary is they're doing nothing at the moment. They're just sitting on their hands, hoping the problem's going to go away. And I think in the days of a less deferential media and a stronger social media, that really isn't a tenable position any longer.
What do you think will become of Beatrice and Eugenie?
Yes, I think the daughters are very much involved with their parents' business activities. We know from the Selman Turk case that money was being fenced through the children's accounts. We know that they were given presents and gifts of jewelry and things by people who were doing business with the parents. They were taken on a lot of these taxpayer-funded trade trips in order to build their contacts book, that they're exploiting that contacts book with the work they're doing now, particularly in the Middle East. Beatrice is promoting Saudi banks and things. So I think there's any doubt that they're deeply involved. I think the royal family have kind of woken up to that and the need to distance themselves from the daughters. If the daughters are squeaky clean, there should be no problem about them, for example, giving up their titles, giving up their subsidized accommodation in Kensington and St. James's Palace, and retiring into a private life. But, they are, I'm afraid, been exploiting their royal positions for their own personal gain for years. They don't want to give up that position. And I'm sure a deal was done to get Andrew out of Royal Lodge, that he said that, you will take care of my daughters, they won't lose their titles, they won't lose their position in the line of succession. And that's the dilemma that the king is now wrestling with, because if more embarrassing revelations come out about the daughters in the coming months, then he's going to be look rather weak. The fact that he's
Yeah.
trying to include them in royal events. They've been invited to Sandringham for Christmas. They're going to go to Ascot in the summer. Uh, um, and, they will, in some ways, be damaging to the royal brand.
Mm.
My own feeling is that they should voluntarily give up their positions. If they refuse to do so, they should be basically removed from basically the work. They're not working roles, but from royal circles. In the way that Princess Margaret's children are no longer involved in royal events. They don't go to Sandringham and stuff, and they've just got their own careers. I think, again, very tellingly, both daughters were asked to provide an audit of their business activities, which they refused to do. So, it would make much more sense, for both the Sussexes and the Yorks to basically be cut loose from the royal family, to have a very slimmed down monarchy, which is focused entirely on the king, the Prince of Wales, and his descendants. and everyone else goes off and has to earn their own living. Well, I mean, I agree. It's a very powerful photograph. He does look absolutely terrified, and he suddenly realized the seriousness of his situation. But from all I'm getting from my sources who are close to him, that seems to be in a very temporary feeling, and he's now uh, thinks that he's still untouchable, that he will not have charges brought against him. He's complaining about moving to Marsh Farm. He wants to stay in Wood Farm, and though there's clearly a kind of Palace campaign to suggest he's suicidal, all the evidence I'm getting is that he's as narcissistic and arrogant as he's always been. And I think that's also true of Sarah Ferguson. I mean, we got stories, alternatively, stories that she's suicidal and yet that she's a fighter and she's going to come back and do a big interview with Oprah and write a book. So we're getting very mixed messages, but certainly the stuff I'm getting from people close to him is that nothing really has changed. He feels no remorse for what he's done. He feels annoyed that he feels he's been picked on, and this is just a sort of press vendetta.
Yeah.
So this is one of the problems. And if we remember, even when he was making statements in the autumn, he wasn't actually, though he was encouraged to do so, making any sort of apology for his behavior to the victims or making any sort of gesture towards them.